Exodus chapter 15. So Moses and the squad of Israel straight up dropped this fire song for the Lord. And they were like, yo, I'm going to sing for the Lord because he straight up smashed it. Like he totally wiped out the horse and its rider straight into the sea. God is like my ultimate power and jam. He's like totally saved me and stuff. He's my homie, my ride or die. You feel me? And I'm going to hook up. I'm going to hook up with a, and I'm going to hook him up with a sweet spot to chill. He's my OG, my numero uno, and I'm going to give him all the props. Yo, the Lord is like a total warrior, man. His name is the Lord, no cap. Yo, God straight up yeeted Pharaoh's whips and his whole crew into the sea. Even their top dogs got dunked in the Red Sea. They got totally covered and went straight to the depths, sinking like a stone to the bottom. God, your right hand is flexing with power, totally obliterating the enemy. And when you flex your absolute greatness, you totally wreck those haters who tried to come at you. You unleash your furious anger, obliterating them like they were nothing but dry grass on a summer day. And like your breath caused the waters to come together. The flood stood up in a big pile, and the deep parts of the sea froze. The hater was like, I'm going to chase after them, catch up to them, and snatch their goods. I'm going to get what I want. I'll even whip out my sword and obliterate them with my own hand. You like totally use your cool wind, and the sea was like whoosh and covered them, and they sank like heavy metal in the mega waters. Yo, who even compares to you, Lord? Like seriously, no one can match your glory, your holiness, and the way you rock our world with amazing miracles. I mean, talk about setting the bar high. No other gods even come close, you feel? You like totally extended your right hand, and the earth just like swallowed them up. You and your kindness have led the people you have saved. You've guided them with your power to your sacred dwelling place. When the peeps hear it, they'll be shook. Sadness will grip the folks in Palestina. Yo, the Edom dudes gonna be shook. The Moab boys, bad boys, gonna be trembling like crazy. Even in Canaan, gonna be straight up melting. They're gonna be freaking out and totally shook when they see how powerful you are, like frozen in place. You're gonna keep them motionless until your people can cross over. Lord, the ones you've totally bought and saved. You got to take them in and plant them in the dope mountain that's all yours, where you want to chill, in your holy crib that you built with your hands, Lord. God's going to be in charge forever and ever, no cap. So like Pharaoh's whole squad of horses and chariots rolled into the sea with all the horsemen and stuff. And then God made the sea go wild and the water came crashing down on them. But the Israelites, man, they straight up walked right through the sea on dry land. No getting wet or nada. And Miriam, the OG prophetess, who happens to be Aaron's sister, grabbed a sick timbrel and led a lit female squad out there with timbrels and busting out moves. Miriam was like, yo, sing your hearts out to the Lord. He totally crushed it and made those horses and their riders drown in the sea. So Moses totally led the Israel fam away from the Red Sea, and they ventured into the wild place called Shur. And they were trekking through the wilderness for like 3 whole days. And man, they couldn't find any water anywhere. It was a serious struggle, dude. So they arrived at Mara, but the water there was like super undrinkable, too bitter to handle. That's why they ended up naming the place Mara, which basically means bitterness. The peeps were like, Moses, seriously, how are we going to hydrate though? And he was like, OMG. He called out to the Lord, and the Lord was like, I got you. He showed him this lit tree and he threw it into the water. The water became all sweet and refreshing. Then right there, he established some cool rules and regulations for them, and also like tested them, and like, listen up. If you really pay attention to what the Lord your God is saying, and you do what's right in his eyes and obey his commandments and keep all his rules, then you won't have to deal with any of the diseases that the Egyptians had to face, because, I'm the Lord, the one who heals you and stuff. So they arrived at Elim, which had like 12 water wells and 70 palm trees, and they set up camp there by the water. Exodus chapter 16. So they packed up and they left Elim, and all the Israelites headed to the wilderness of Sin. It's like this spot between Elim and Sinai. They arrived there on the 15th day of the 2nd month after leaving Egypt. So basically, all the kids of Israel started complaining about Moses and Aaron while they were chilling in the wilderness. The Israelites were like, ugh, we wish we had died back in Egypt where we had all the good food and stuff. You just had to bring us out here to the wilderness to starve us to death. So like God was talking to Moses, right? And he was like, yo, Moses, check it out. I'm going to make it rain bread from heaven for you and the peeps. But here's the deal. They got to go out and gather just enough for each day. This way I can test them and see if they'll follow my laws or not. And like, listen up, on the 6th day, they got to prep twice as much because that's what they're going to bring in. You know, it's going to be like double the amount of what they gather normally every day. So Moses and Aaron were like, yo, all you peeps of Israel, listen up. When the sun goes down, that's when you know for sure that the Lord has totally freed you from the clutches of Egypt. And in the morning, y'all going to witness the epicness of the Lord. Like, seriously, he's listening to all your complaints and stuff. So like, what's the deal? Why y'all murmuring against us? Who do y'all think we are? So Moses was like, God is going to hook you up with some meat at night and bread in the morning, because he knows y'all be complaining. But don't get it twisted. Your complaints ain't about us. They're directed at the big man upstairs. So Moses talked to Aaron and was like, yo, go tell the Israelite peeps to gather around before the Lord, because he's heard y'all complaining. So Aaron was like talking to all the kids of Israel, and they turned their head towards the wilderness, and boom, the epic glory of the Lord showed up in this cloud thing. So like God started talking to Moses, and this is what he said. I caught the wind of the gossip among the Israelite squad. Tell them this. When night falls, you'll feast on some meat. And when morning comes, you won't go hungry because you'll have plenty of bread. And by that, you'll realize that I'm the boss, the Lord your God. So like when it got dark, all these quails showed up and totally covered the camp. And when morning came, there was dew everywhere around the whole crew. And like when the dew was all evaporated, yo, there it was, straight up in the wilderness, like this tiny round thing, small, just like hoarfrost on the ground. And when the Israelites saw it, they were like, whoa, dude, what is this stuff? And they were like, it's totally manna, bro. So they had no clue what it was. So Moses was like, yo, guys, this right here is the bread that the Lord has hooked you up with. So eat up. Yo, this is what the Lord wants y'all to do. Gather up enough food for each person in your crew, 1 omer per person. Make sure you count everyone in your squad and snag enough for everyone in their own tents. Let's do this. So the Israelites did it, and they collected different amounts, some more, some less. And when they measured it with an omer, the one who gathered lots didn't have extra, and the one who gathered little didn't go hungry. So they each gathered according to what they needed to eat. And Moses was like, yo, don't even think about saving any of that for tomorrow, fam. But they didn't listen to Moses, and some of them didn't finish the food and kept it till the next morning. It got all gross, and maggots started coming out of it. And Moses got super angry at them. So like they would pick it up every morning, each person getting enough for their meal. And like when it got hot outside, it would just totally melt away. So like on the 6th day, they hauled in double the bread, 2 omers for each person. And all the big shots of the crew went up to Moses and spilled the tea. And he was like, yo, listen up. This is what the Lord has spoken. Tomorrow is the chill rest day. It's all about the holy Sabbath for the Lord. So go ahead and bake whatever you want to bake today and cook whatever you want to cook. And if you have any leftovers, just save them for tomorrow morning. No biggie. They left it until morning, just like Moses said, and it didn't smell bad or have any worms in it. And Moses was like, yo, grab some grub today, because if it's the Lord's chill day, fam, ain't no food in the field today, so get it now. You got to collect that stuff for 6 straight days. But on the 7th day, aka the Sabbath, there's going to be nothing available. So like on the 7th day, some peeps went out to gather, but they couldn't find any. And God was like, yo, Moses, seriously, how much longer are you going to keep ignoring my commandments and laws? Yo, listen up. The big man upstairs, the Lord, hooked you up with the Sabbath day. So on the 6th day, he's making sure you got enough bread for 2 days. Here's the deal. Everyone needs to stay put in their own spot on the 7th day. No one should be out and about. And then everyone just chilled out on the 7th day. So the Israelites named it manna. It looked like coriander seeds, white in color, and it tasted like honey flavored water, wafers. Moses was like, yo, listen up, fam. God wants us to save a portion of this stuff like an omer for the future peeps. It's going to be a reminder of the bread that kept us alive when we were wandering in the wilderness after we dipped out of Egypt. Yo, Aaron, grab a pot and fill it up with the fresh manna. Then stash it before the Lord as a timeless keepsake for your fam. Aaron did what the Lord told Moses and placed it in front of the testimony for safekeeping. So like the Israel peeps had manna for solid 40 years until they finally reached a place with actual people. Manna was their jam until they made it to the borders of Canaan, So like an omer is like 1/10 of an ephah. Exodus chapter 17. So like all the Israelites, they were all traveling together, right? They left this place called the wilderness of sin after going through a bunch of other places because the Lord told them to. And then they stopped at this place called Rephidim, But there was no water for the people to drink. Can you believe that? So the people started complaining to Moses saying, yo, give us some water to drink. And Moses was like, why you all got to be complaining to me? Why are you trying to test the Lord? So everyone was super thirsty and started complaining to Moses, like, why'd you bring us out of Egypt if you're going to let us, our kids and our animals die of thirst? So Moses hit up the big man upstairs like, yo, what am I supposed to do with these people? They're about to straight up kill me. And God was like, yo, Moses, lead the way in front of the people. Grab some of the older peeps from Israel and don't forget that stick you used to hit the river. Hold on to it and start walking. Yo, listen up. So basically, I'm going to be chilling on this rock in Horeb right in front of you. And all you got to do is give that rock a good smack and boom, water will come rushing out of it, quenching the thirst of the people. And guess what? Moses totally pulled it off with all the elders of Israel watching the whole spectacle go down. So he named that place Massah and Meribah, all because the Israelites were complaining and testing the Lord, questioning whether he was really with them or not. Massah means temptation and Meribah means chiding and strife. And then Amalek showed up and started fighting with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses was like, yo, Joshua, pick some dudes and let's go battle Amalek. Tomorrow, I'm going to be chilling on the hilltop, holding God's rod in my hand. By the way, Joshua used to be called Jesus, so you know. Just so you know. Joshua totally followed Moses' instructions and went to battle against Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur, they all went to the top of the hill, So when Moses lifted his hand up, Israel totally dominated. But when he put his hand down, Amalek took the lead. Moses' hands were getting tired, so they grabbed a stone and made him sit on it. Aaron and Hur stood on either side, supporting his hands, and didn't let them waver until the sun went down. So Joshua totally wrecked Amalek and his crew with some serious sword skills. Yo, God was like, yo, Moses, write this down in a book as a reminder and make sure Joshua hears it. Because I'm straight up going to wipe out any memory of Amalek from the face of the earth. So Moses totally set up this sick altar and was like, yo, we calling this Jehovah Nissi, which means like the Lord, my banner. Like he's our ultimate squad leader and guiding us with his righteous vibes. You feel me? He's like, yo, hear me out. The Lord totally swears that there's going to be this epic war with Amalek, like forever. Amalek's got beef with the Lord's throne. So it's on, dude. All right. All right, Lord. Exodus chapter 18. When Jethro, the cool priest of Midian and Moses' father-in-law, heard about all the epic stuff God did for Moses and all the Israel peeps and how the Lord totally saved Israel from Egypt. So like Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought Zipporah, Moses' wife, back to him after Moses had sent her away. And why did he send her away? Okay. You all put in the comment section, why did Moses send his wife away? Verse 3. And she had 2 sons. One of them was named Gershom, which means a stranger there, because he said, I felt like an outsider in a foreign place. And the other guy's name was Eliezer, because my dad's God totally had my back and saved me from Pharaoh's sword. Eliezer means my God is in help, just so you know. So Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, pulled up with his fam, sons and wife, to chill with Moses out in the wild, where he had set up camp at the mountain of God. And he was like, yo, Moses, listen up. It's me, your father-in-law, Jethro, sliding into your DMs. I just pulled up with your wife and her 2 sons, no cap. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and gave him a respectful greeting. You didn't go out to meet your wife and kids, Moses? Seems kind of strange to me. Should be happy to see your wife and kids. Y'all put in the comment section, why wasn't he happy to see his wife and kids? And why doesn't he talk a whole lot about his wife and kids? And they exchanged greetings and asked about each other's well-being. Then they went into the tent to hang out. Seems kind of fishy to me. Verse 8. So Moses was telling his father-in-law all about how the Lord totally wrecked Pharaoh and the Egyptians because of Israel, and all the crazy stuff that it went through on their journey and how the Lord miraculously saved them. It was real intense, man. You should be seeing how your wife and kids are doing. And Jethro was stoked extremely for all the epic goodness that the Lord had done to Israel, like totally saving them from those crazy Egyptians. And Jethro was like, whoa, shout out to the big guy, the Lord, for saving you from those Egyptians and from Pharaoh, freeing the people from their grip. Dude, I totally get it now. Like the Lord is legit the biggest boss among all the guys. He totally outshines them with his rad attitude and the way above their level of pride. Can't mess with that, man. So Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, decided to have a little barbecue party. Now, you know that's not in no Bible. Let's just say a feast. Let's just say a feast. Ain't have no barbecue party in the Bible. I'm not reading that. So Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, decided to have a little feast for God. Let's say it that way. Aaron and all the cool barbecue party. Aaron and all the cool elders of Israel showed up to chill and have some grub with Moses' father-in-law, all in the presence of God. The next day, Moses started settling people's disputes, and all the people lined up to seek judgment from Moses, waiting all day long. When Moses' father-in-law saw everything he was doing to the people, he was like, bro, what's up with this? Why are you doing everything by yourself while everyone else is just waiting around all day? Like, seriously? So Moses was like, yo, Pops, these peeps keep coming to me with all their questions to seek advice from the big guy upstairs. When they have a problem, they hit me up. Now I'm out here settling disputes, making sure they're in the know about God's rules and laws. It's like being the official mediator, keeping things fair between them. Yo, Moses' father was like, bro, what you're doing ain't cool. You're totally going to burn out, both you and everyone around you, because this is way too much for you to handle on your own. You're not going to be able to pull it off by yourself. Yo, you're going to fade away for real. Fade away. Yo, listen up. I got some good advice for you. God's got your back, so make sure you're representing the people in front of God. Bring their issues directly to him, bro. And you got to teach them all the rules and laws to show them how to live their lives and the things they got to do. You got to choose some capable dudes from the crowd. Dudes who respect God and keep it real. Dudes who hate being greedy, and put them in charge as leaders of large groups. Leaders of small groups, leaders of even smaller groups, and leaders of super tiny groups. And let them be the ones to make decisions for the people all the time. Big cases they should bring to you. But for the small stuff, they can handle it themselves. That way you won't be so overwhelmed, and they'll help share the load with you. If you do what God says, he's totally down with it. Then you'll be able to handle it, and all your squad will be chill and go to their own turf without any drama. So Moses listened to his father-in-law, did everything he said. So Moses picked some really capable dudes from all over Israel and put them in charge as leaders. They were like head honchos, ruling over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. And they were like constantly judging and stuff. The really complicated cases they took to Moses. But for every little thing, they handled it themselves. So Moses said goodbye to his father-in-law and went back to his own land. I still don't know why you never did greet your wife and kids. You may have done it, but you should have recorded it since you wrote Exodus. Exodus 19. And like the third month after the kiddos of Israel dipped out of Egypt, they straight up landed in the middle of nowhere. Sinai, fam. So they left Rephidim and arrived at the desert of Sinai. They set up camp in the middle of nowhere. And that's where Israel stayed, right in front of the mountain. So Moses went up to talk with God, and the Lord called out to him from the mountain. He said, hey, here's what you got to tell the house of Jacob and the children of Israel. Y'all saw the epic stuff I pulled off with the Egyptians and how I totally carried you like a boss on eagle's wings to bring you closer to me. So like if you truly listen to me and follow my rules, you'll be like so special to me, better than anyone else. Because honestly, the whole earth is mine, you know. You guys are like a kingdom of priests and a super holy group. These are the words that you should totally say to the children of Israel. So Moses like showed up and gathered all the older dudes of the crew and straight up spelled all the words that the Lord told him right in front of them. And everyone was like, yeah, we're totally down with everything the Lord said. We'll do it. Then Moses was like, word, and told the Lord what the people said. God was like, yo, Moses, I'm going to roll through in a dope cloud so the whole squad can hear me when I talk to you and have faith in what you say 100%. Then Moses went and relayed to all the peeps the words of God, the words to God. God was like, yo, Moses, go talk to all the peeps and tell them to get cleaned up today and tomorrow by washing their clothes. Get ready for the third day, because that's when the Lord is going to roll up on Mount Sinai. Everybody's going to see it. Everybody's going to see it go down. Yo, make sure you all stay away in your own zone. Don't even think about stepping foot on the mountain or getting too close to it. Anybody who does will be straight up executed. No questions asked. No one better lay a finger on it or they're going to get stoned or shot. Whether they're an animal or a human, they ain't going to survive. When that trumpet makes a long sound, everyone better come up to the mountain. By the way, trumpet can mean cornet too, if you didn't know. So Moses came down from the mountain to the peeps and made them all holy and stuff, and they cleaned their fits. And he said to the squad, get yourselves together by the third day. No flexing on your partners, bro. So like after 3 days in the morning, there were mad thunders, lightnings, and a super thick cloud on the mountain. And the sound of the trumpet was crazy loud, causing everyone in the camp to freak out. So Moses took the people out of the camp to meet up with God, and they all gathered at the foot of the mountain. So like Mount Sinai was like totally covered in smoke because, you know, the Lord came down on it like fire. And the smoke, it was going up, just so you know, like a big furnace, and the whole mountain was like shaking like crazy. When the trumpet sound was blasting loud, getting louder and louder, Moses spoke up and God answered him with a voice. So God totally appeared on Mount Sinai right at the tip top of the mountain. And he called Moses to come up there. And Moses was like, sure thing, and went all the way up. Yo, Moses, listen up. The Lord told him to go down and warn the people not to get close to the mountain or get close to the Lord. Otherwise, they might straight up die. Charge here means to like seriously contest or challenge him. Yo, the priest got to make sure they're all clean and pure before they get close to the Lord. Otherwise, his wrath might just come down on them. They had a priesthood already? All right, in the comment section, you all tell me, where did this priesthood come from? Because I thought it was not established until you get further into the law. And he establishes the priesthood and he consecrates Aaron and Aaron's sons. So they had a priesthood already? All right, verse 23. So Moses was like, yo, God, the people can't go up to Mount Sinai. You told us to put boundaries around it, make it holy, remember? God was like, yo, go down there and then come back up with Aaron, but make sure the priest and the people don't try to break through and come up to me, because I might just go all out on them. So Moses went down to the people and started talking to them. Genesis chapter 20. So like God totally said all this cool stuff like, I'm the Almighty, your God, who rescued you from Egypt, from a life of slavery. Don't put any other gods before me, period. Don't go making any carved statues or any images of stuff in the sky, on the ground, or under water. You don't go worshiping other gods or being their servants, because I, the Lord, your God, am like super possessive. I keep an eye on those who hate me, and I make sure their kids and grandkids pay for their wrongdoings, like the next 3 or 4 generations. And like being super kind to thousands of peeps who like totally love me and do whatever I say. Don't use God's name as a meaningless phrase, because God won't let you get away with it. Yo, don't forget to vibe on the Sabbath day and keep it super sacred. Yo, work hard and grind for 6 days and complete all your tasks, fam. By the way, the 7th day is like the chill day of the Lord, your God. You and your squad, including your fam, your helpers, and even your pets, got to take a break and not hustle or do any tasks. Yo, also, any outsiders who are hanging with you should join in the downtime with your crib. So like God created everything we see, the sky, the earth, and the ocean, and all the living things in just 6 days. And then on the 7th day, he was like, I'm going to take a break. And because of that, he blessed the 7th day and made it all holy and stuff. Respect your mom and dad so that you can live long and blessed life in the land that God gave you. Don't take somebody's life, not cool. Don't cheat on your bae. Don't be a thief, fam. Don't go spreading fake news about your homie. Don't be jelly of your neighbor's crib. Don't be thirsting after your neighbor's bae, nor his homie, nor his girl, nor his whip, nor his ride, nor anything else that's your neighbor's. And like everyone saw the sick thunder and lightning and the crazy loud trumpet noise, and the whole mountain was smoking. And yo, when the people saw all that, they straight up dipped and stood far away, man. And they're like, yo, Moses, you talk to us and we'll listen, but like, don't let God talk to us directly, because that's mad scary. We might straight up die. So listen up, peeps. Moses was like, no worries, fam. God is pulling a test on you to make sure you stay on the right path and don't mess up. And the peeps stood far away, and Moses slid into the dark vibes where God was. And God was like, yo, Moses, go tell the peeps of Israel that they saw me straight up chatting with them from heaven. Don't even think about creating silver or gold gods to replace me, right? Like, just don't. It's a big no-no. Yo, make an earth altar for me and make sacrifices there, offering up your burnt offerings, peace offerings, sheep, and oxen. Whenever I put my name on a spot, I'll show up and bless you. Yo, if you want to construct an altar for me, don't use no fancy stone carvings. Keep it raw, bro. Because if you start chiseling away at it, you're straight up defiling it, man. Just saying. Hashtag no tool on altar. Don't climb up on my altar using stairs so your lack of clothes won't be exposed. Exodus chapter 21. So like these are the rules you got to lay out for them, okay? If you decide to hire a Hebrew homie, they'll work for you for 6 years straight. But on the 7th year, they dip without paying you a dime. If he rolls solo, he got to bounce solo. But if he had a wifey, she got to roll with him. Solo in Hebrew is a Hebrew term for with his body. If his boss gave him a partner and they have kids together, the partner and their children belong to the boss. He can leave on his own. That would be wife, not partner. 5. And if the servant is like, yo, I'm all about my master, my wife, and my kids, I ain't bouncing out of here. So the boss will take him to the judges, like at the door by the doorpost, and the boss will pierce his ear with a tool, yo, and he gonna serve him forever. If someone sells his daughter to work as a maidservant, remember that she won't be free like the men servants. If she doesn't make her master happy who promised to marry her, he should let her go and someone else can buy her. He can't sell her to another country because he was dishonest with her. That sounds messed up. And if he's like engaged her to his son, he should treat her like his own daughter, you know. If he decides to take another spouse, he must not neglect providing for her basic needs and fulfilling his marital obligations. But if he doesn't do these 3 things for her, then she can leave without paying anything. If someone kills another person, they will definitely be sentenced to death. And if a dude isn't plotting, but God's puts him in his sights, then I'll set up a spot where he can take shelter. But if a dude intentionally tries to kill his neighbor sneakily, you got to drag him away from a holy place so he can meet his demise. If anyone attacks their parents, they'll totally face the ultimate consequence of death. If anyone kidnaps and sells another person, or if they are caught with them, they will definitely face the death penalty. If anyone disses their parents, they're straight up done for. Like seriously, they're going to get the death penalty. Real talk. No exaggeration or anything. Don't mess with fam, bro. Hashtag respect. And if dudes are like fighting and one hits the other with a stone or with a fist and the dude doesn't die, but like stays in bed chilling, neighbor or somebody nearby. If the person gets back up and goes with their homies, the one who hit them will be off the hook. But they got to compensate for lost time and make sure they're completely healed up. And no, I don't mean in a video game way. I mean like physically healed, bro. No cheat codes here. You don't mean in a video game way. Okay, Gen Z is going to have to explain that with me because I don't know what that means. When I think of video, I'm thinking of Atari and Commodore 64 and all that. If someone hits their servant or maid with a rod and causes their death, they will definitely be held accountable and face consequences. Consequences in Hebrew means avenge. But if he sticks around for a day or 2, he won't be penalized because he's just settling his dues. If dudes get in a fight and accidentally harm a pregnant woman, causing her to miscarry but without any further harm, they should face punishment based on what the woman's husband decides and also pay a fine determined by the judges. And if there's any trouble that happens, then you got to make up for it by giving a life for a life. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot. Eye for an eye, injury for injury, punishment for punishment. If a person hurts the eye of their servant or maid so badly that it's permanently damaged, they must set them free as compensation for their eye. If someone knocks out their servant's tooth, whether it's a guy or a girl, they have to set them free as compensation for the tooth. If an ox violently injures and kills a person, whether male or female, the ox must without a doubt be stoned to death. His flesh is not to be consumed, but the owner of the ox will be acquitted of any responsibility. But if that ox has a history of straight up ramming people with its horns, and the owner knows about it but didn't do anything to prevent it, and the ox ends up killing someone, then that ox is getting stoned, and the owner's got to face the consequences and be put to death too. If he's asked to pay up, he's got to cough up whatever amount is demanded to set himself free. If he's hurt a son or daughter, the consequences will be determined by this judgment. If an ox goes and pushes a dude or chick a chit, Lord, who's like a servant. I haven't heard that since the 70s. Then the ox got to pay up 30 shekels of silver to their boss. And they got to stone the ox. It's like straight up consequences for causing harm, you know. If someone digs a hole and doesn't bother covering it up, and an ox or donkey falls into it, if you accidentally mess up someone's stuff, you got to fix it and compensate them. Then whatever got wrecked becomes the property of the person who lost it. So like if one person's ox like hurts another person's ox so badly, like that it dies, and they got to sell the live ox and split the cash between them. And yeah, they also got to split the dead ox as well. Nothing complicated, just fair and square, you know. If it's found out that an ox has a history of charging and the owner didn't control it, then they got to make it right by giving an ox in return, and the dead animal becomes the owner's responsibility. Please put these words in the comment section. This is the word of the Lord. Follow, like, and subscribe. Hit that arrow at the bottom of the screen and share this video. Shall we pray? Fathers, we come before you. What really stands out is the fact that you manifested your presence in the midst of your people. You didn't just bring them out and abandon them, but you brought them out and you stuck with them. And so there may be people here today, God, on this time of prayer and scripture reading that feel like they've been abandoned, like the Lord saved me, but I can't hear from him. I can't get a hearing. What's going on? I just pray in your own way that you would manifest yourself. God, we know it's not about the feelings. It's not about the manifestations. It's not about the miracles. It's not about the goosebumps or anything like that. But being in this world and in this life, every now and then people need some type of consolation, that you're right there with them. So I pray that you would manifest yourself in a great way and comfort your people even right now. I ask it in Jesus' name, I pray. Let all the people of God say, thank God, amen, and put in the comment section, this is the word of the Lord.